like my trend lines. Like overall, like my trend line keeps telling me like what direction we're in. Like this is my blue trend line right here for my 4-hour, and you see how many times it retouched it. Multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's still showing me that we're in this overall uptrend. And even though we hit TP2 and I have divergence, I see the reversal coming, but I know it's not, I know we're not in sales until I get the break and retest. And that's why I keep adding trend lines too, because before any of this happened right here, I still saw divergence, and that's why I had this trend line right here. These 2 points, 1 point, 2 point. But as you can see, it never broke through it. It never retested it or none of that. It started forming another low, and that's when I added another trend line.
Right.
So I know like, okay, well, if it keeps bouncing off this trend line, I'll get in for minor buys. But I do see that major structure turning into sales. But until then, I'll take minor buys.
Okay.
That's why I really like the trend lines too, because they still keep you on, you know, what's happening.
For sure.
But until like, cause let's look, like right here, we have this divergence right here. It's still going up. And this is this red zone right here. This is my daily zone. If we look at the daily time frame, it's giving very bullish right now. So I want to see just exactly how is this going to finish off. But this is the daily, so this can always like shrink down. But as you get on the 4-hour, you see there's wicks on both sides. And then this is bearish. So, you know, right now I'm just kind of waiting and seeing it. But if price does come back down, you see it pushed up in this area. It got to do a little pullback before continuing.
Right.
For any type of structure, even right here, if none of this happened, like it still has to pull back just like it did right here before continuing. Okay. So for gold, like I want to see if it's going to go on 30-minute. Oops. For zone, I drew the zone. So this zone, what is this? Support or resistance?
Resistance.
So it's, yes, it's resistance. It broke 3 times and it has not been retested. So I put my zone from previous resistance, drawn into the future, which is also aligned, you know, with this green trend line. So I want to see if price is going to like come down to retest this area and then push up, or if it's going to break and retest and fall. But either way, I'm still like, even though like I'm anticipating for the sales, I'm not getting in for sales because it hasn't happened yet. But I still have that in the back of my mind that that's what I expect to happen. But until then, I'm literally like trading what I'm seeing.
Right.
Because even like when price is right here, I've been looking for sales for the last week, but I saw that price retested this green trend line. Well, this is the one I gave out last week. I said if price retest this purple trend line to get in for buys, and it played out. It did consolidate, but if you put your stop loss even to like right here, you see price never pushed past this previous low right there. All it did was come and retest my green trend line. Let me see if that was the second point or the third point. It was the second point, so I didn't have that green trend line yet. But once I saw that it made that next low, I put my trend line right there, and then I got in for a buy there, and then took it to TP1. I forgot what was my point of breaking this down, or was I just breaking it down?
I guess you're trying to see where, if and where a reversal was coming at this zone.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and since this is a daily zone, like it could be here for a minute. Since it's that higher time frame, like right here, this was a previous daily zone I had. Y'all can see like how much price kind of stayed in that area. So yeah, I want to see what it does, because possibly what can happen too is it can like consolidate some, retest, come up, and then break and retest before falling. But I like to just take both sides to hand, just so you're able to adapt to the market, whatever it's showing you. And then on top of that, like I have a lot of divergence on the dollar as well. And since inflation came out at 6%, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I put it in the chat. Inflation's at 6, and they're trying to get inflation to 2. And the only way to do that is by increasing interest rates. So now that data come out for CPI, you know, it's still the beginning of the month. But now that they know that inflation is still high, we can expect like interest rates to still be increased. Like they're not going to be lowering interest rates. And y'all know, as interest rates increase, it makes the dollar stronger. So by knowing that, and then also having my fundamentals like show me this divergence on the 4-hour, you know, 4-hour takes a long time to play out, but this is still showing me that a reversal is coming. Y'all see these lows, like they're higher, and on the chart they're lower. So I don't be marking up like the dollar like that, like to trade it. I don't trade the dollar. I just look at it to see, you know, what's happening, put it hand in hand with fundamentals as well. So yeah, so that's what I see for gold. Like I just see if it's either gonna do like another minor little buy, or yeah, until it does give that break and retest. I will not get in no sell for gold until I get that valid break in that retest. This is for your break and retest. So I'm gonna click the replay button, so as if none of this has happened yet. So I'm gonna take it off right there. So when you're waiting for your break and retest, depending if it's a zone or a trend line, I'm gonna give an example of a trend line right now though. But you can get a break and a retest of a zone as well. So when you're using a trend line, you find 2 points, 1, 2, draw it into the future. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait for price to break through that trend line. I'm slowing it down so you can see exactly. Boom, so that's where it broke. So now you need a retest. So you're gonna wait for it to come back up, and you want to see wick exhaustion. If it's showing like a full candle, then that means it's gonna continue in that direction. But right here, we see both of these wick exhaustions. You see this wick on this green candle and this wick from the red candle. So that's showing that it's gonna continue pushing down. So that will be a valid retest. And as you can see, let's let it play out, and it kept going down. So when it comes to a zone will be the same thing. So if you're going in the downtrend, you want to find previous support. So for an example, I want to show a clean example. We can go right here. So you can see right here. Let's make this a different color. Let's make this yellow. Let's do light purple. So right here, it came as support, right? Boom. Retested. Had a little retest right here too. And then it broke through this zone right here. So after you break through, you want to see a retest. And it came back right here and retested this zone. So now it's no longer support, it's now resistance, showing that it's going in the opposite direction. I hope this answered your question, and if it didn't, or if you need further clarification, just let me know. When you're waiting for that retest, you don't want to get in while the candle's forming. You want the candle to actually be finished forming. So that's why sometimes when I set my alarms, I set it so that it alerts me once the candle has finished forming. I haven't been trading GU, but I just looked at it today, and based off this structure right here, so y'all see it hit 27 TP1, and it made a new high. Like this high is higher than these highs right here. So from this lower point, up, down, up, that structure. So placing my fib, it hit 23.6. It has been consolidating a little bit. So this can push up some as well to TP1. The US market is going to be closed on Monday because it's Martin Luther King, so it's a holiday. But the Great British Pound is going to be open. So I can see that playing out a little bit. And I also do have divergence on the 4-hour and the 1 hour. That's why I have a blue and a green arrow. My green always means 1 hour and my blue means 4 hour. So as you can see on the RSI, it's going down while the chart is going up. Y'all see that?
Yes.
Even right here,
Mm-hmm.
you have a high and a low, but on the chart, it's a low and a high. So yeah. So when I see reversals coming, divergence, like I don't get in until I have that break and retest. And even right here, like I put my trend line on the 15-minute. So 1 point, 2 point, draw into the future. So even if price comes back to retest this area, you already know, you see this wick exhaustion right here, like these are, you can get in for a mini buy, a minor buy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to everybody? You can also have
Yes.
here. So let's see, this is like a little 15-minute fib. Yeah, 30-minute. So close at 50 to this area. I'll make that orange. And then on the 1 hour. Yep. See, they're kind of close. This is the 1 hour TP1, and this is the 15-minute that I just drew TP1. And that was like a little baby fib inside of that. So you see how you can kind of draw your fibs pretty much anywhere, not anywhere, but as long as you have like that low and that high and it's going in that direction of the overall trend, like you're fine. There is no right or wrong way. Like we can have different fibs in different areas, but price will still play out in the same direction if we have the same bias overall. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to the second entries, so can you explain what you said again, Stephanie, when you were talking about the entries?
Or like for example, say you marked up on like the 1 hour, the 4 hour, which you know is a longer trade. You have pullbacks. You have like a pullback on the 13, pullback on the 15. Where could you re-enter on one of those time frames to get back to the same TP that you're gonna go to? Say you only did one entry at the beginning of the entire setup, but you want like a second one.
Okay. Well, this one was a perfect example. So this, let me delete this. So before any of this even happened, I had the break of this purple trend line, and I said, if this retests, then you can draw your fib from this last point. You'll see this is the bottom point, not here, here. Take it to that high. It hit 23.6. So now I know it's going to consolidate to TP1. So say you're in this for this buy. This is one entry. Then it consolidates, and then you get another low created or another retest somewhere. That would have been, that you could have got a second entry there. Okay. Or what you can also do too is just place another trend line somewhere on that structure. Because like I said, like even when we draw our trend lines, all of our trend lines are going to be different. So there's going to be multiple entries for you to get in. So I would say just draw like another trend line. I know some people, I mean, maybe you can try that too to see if it works for you. Some people go off like a high being broken or a low being broken, depending on what direction you're in. But you can try that out too, see how that works for you. Another thing you try, so trend lines, highs or lows being broken, or you can also go based off zones, so retest of zones in a direction. So for here, like this consolidation area, you see how it's resistance, broke, came back, retested twice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit cleaner on the 15-minute.
Yeah.
So those could have been other entries right here too.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And you always want to wait till that candle finishes. Like even right here, you see price came all the way down. Like somebody probably would have been scared seeing like all that bullish momentum coming. But when the candle closed, it closed with all this wick exhaustion pushing up.
Yeah, that was when the news came out actually. That was the news on
Yeah. Yeah, it was. That's what I was saying too. You remember I told y'all, CC and Lawrence, how when the news comes out, it can sometimes be a lot of back and forthness. This is exactly like what happened. Like you could see like clearly price was pushing down, then it was going up, like the buyers and sellers was going at it.
And you see your account change in a flash of a second.
Yeah, so that's why it's important to really like know your structure with news. But right here, I already had like my multiple confirmations like telling me where it was going. News just pushed it into that direction. But yeah, so for next week for gold, I'm for sure going to be looking for price to come back down and see what it does in this area. It kind of gave that retest already right there. It could possibly do something like that. But yeah, I would just see how it reacts to this trend line. Because now this trend line, I believe, has 3 points. Yeah, so you have 1 point, 2 points, 3 points of it retested. So we'll see if we get another retest with that wick exhaustion, of course, that'll be a buy. And you can place your fib there. Take it from this low, from the previous retest to the high, wherever the high hasn't been finished creating yet. But once that high is done and it comes down to give that retest, then you could take it to TP1 and that'll be about like 320 pips.